good people, ladies and gentlemen? It's your favorite Meuboy's favorite Meuboy, Peanut.
Hey, lovelies, and your girl Prin with Candid Conversation
With Peanut.
and Prin.
What's happening, honey? How you doing?
I am okay. A little tired, but I'm okay.
You look like you're in think mode today.
I am in think mode today. A lot of stuff happening business-wise, so.
Okay, wheels turning. Sounds like money. We like money.
We do like money.
We like money. Yeah, we like money. That's cool. It's been a day for me as well.
Okay.
Yeah, working. Working. Trying to make something happen. That's about it.
Okay. So, as you both, as we just said, today has been a day for me to, I guess, think and dwell in different thoughts. And one of the conversations that I thought would be interesting for us to talk about is money.
Money. Okay. Let's talk about it.
Now, of course, we both know that money is all sorts of variations, the spending of money, the financial literacy, all of those things.
Yeah.
But we also know that a difficult conversation is just talking about money within your household, or if you're in a relationship with someone, it's also difficult to talk about, money within the relationship. So I thought that it would be interesting for us to have a candid conversation about when is it time to talk about money in a romantic relationship?
That's a very good question. One that I would have never thought to ask myself, but it's always something that comes up whenever you're in a relationship.
It does.
But before we jump into it, as we said, this is Candid Conversation with Peanut and Prin, where we talk about all things life, love, blah, 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 whatever you want to call it, from a candid point of view, our perspective, our opinions, not the opinions of everybody else. Some may agree, some may disagree. It's all good, Get in the comments. Let's talk about it. So, money.
Money.
Within the romantic relationship, you say?
Yes. So, first of all, I don't want anybody to think that they're watching the show that we only talk about relationship stuff, because that's not the case. I just was running across a social media TikTok video. And
she loves TikTok.
Yes, I love TikTok. One of the guys that I follow, he is the financial servant. Shout out to Financial Servant. Because I really love your videos. They definitely cause you to think. So if you all haven't checked out any of his TikTok videos or his Instagram, check him out. He is, once again, at the Financial Servant. And no, he didn't ask us to do this. I just think he's a pretty interesting content creator. But when I think about money and I think about in a relationship, a lot of times people take for granted their understanding of money. So, for example, any of our viewers, you might be the individual who is great at saving money, or you might be the individual who you barely got enough money to get, the things that you need to make ends meet. However, when you get a couple of dollars, you want to do something nice for yourself because you're deprived. Mm-hmm. And so somehow or another, those two people always end up finding each other. The person that's the saver.
Mm-hmm. True.
I'm going to call them frugal. I won't call them stingy or cheap. I will just call them frugal. And the person who, once they finally start to get money on a consistent basis, it's not that they don't want to save. It's not that they don't have a desire for other financial goals, it might just be that they didn't get an opportunity to, do some things for themselves. So, honey, before I take over the entire conversation, you want to jump in?
Well, I'm just sitting here. I'm thinking about it. Everything that you're saying is, I guess, money from an individual standpoint, right? So my thinking was, or my thought, while you were, saying what you were saying was,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out in some past relationships when money even came into play, because my relationships usually don't go that. You know what I'm saying? They don't go that far. Some of my past relationships, right? So, um, being a guy,
Mm-hmm.
being the guy that take the girl out on a date or what have you, there's an understanding, and one of those understandings that we don't necessarily speak of. But if I ask you out, I pay.
Okay. So have you ever gone Dutch on a date?
Yeah, I've gone Dutch on a date, but it was well into the relationship, and it was just one of those things where how you always tell me there's some truth in every joke, right? So it's one of those things where you go, I mean, I'm tired of paying. You got to pay for your own food today. And she go, well, whatever. I can pay for my food. And then we end up going Dutch. It's a joke, but it's some truth, you know what I'm saying, within that joke. So I'm
So has
sitting
anyone
here.
ever treated you in a relationship?
Treated me?
Yeah, like say, you know what? I'm a buy you breakfast. I'm gonna buy you lunch.
Yeah, I've had that a few times.
Okay.
I've had it a few times. In most cases, though, it's the thought that's behind it that
Mm-hmm.
matters more to me than the actual. If you just doing it because you feel like I know he gonna say something because he always then nah, you just bought me breakfast. That's all you did. I mean, I'll appreciate it and I'll take it, but if there's some thought behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and a genuine gesture, then it will mean more to me. But that's just me.
Okay.
But I am trying to figure out though, when did money come into play? Like, do you have to move in with the person for money to come into play?
Well, okay. So, um, I when I think about when money comes into play, so I can recall a past relationship where I did not know that the relationship was money focused. So the guy, he was kind of flashy, he had the car, he, always would pay for stuff and everything. And the relationship, was cool as long as he was the one that was footing the bill, showboating, if you will. And as soon as the tides turned, then it changed the dynamic of the relationship. And so what I realized in the aftermath is that the relationship was really all based on money,
Mm-hmm.
and it was based on power. And so to me, in a relationship, money doesn't always equate power, but
Right.
I think that goes back to what an individual's relationship is with money.
Right.
So I don't know, like, I think if your relationship with money is money gives you power or money causes you to have respect, you utilize it as a tool. And that tool is to manipulate things to happen. Whereas somebody who uses money as a means for them to do better for their family or achieve the goals that they want to achieve, it's still being used as a tool, but it's not maybe being used as maliciously as in some situations. And I personally feel like my past experiences, money was used maliciously, in some situations and scenarios.
Like in a manipulative state.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I've had guys, and I don't know if this is a common thing because, of the type of people that I've come in contact with, but money has always been the carrot, so to speak. So it's like, oh, well, you good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm good. I just kicked my little stand. I'm fine.
Okay. But money being the carrot, so to speak, and the scenario of, well, I'm gonna give you this if you do this. So to me, some of those relationships seem more transactional, but I don't think when you're in a real relationship with a person, money should be transactional.
All right, so let's go back to the original question. What was the original question?
So the original question was, when is it appropriate to talk about money? Like, when does money become a relationship uh,
Discussion.
discussion? Yes.
Okay, so all right, so here we're gonna jump right there. Then, I would say money becomes a relationship discussion after the discussion of it being a real relationship, something that you want to pursue and possibly create a future.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't have any intent to go anywhere and
Then
we're
why
not
are we talking about
necessarily
money?
trying to do anything together as a unit and better ourselves and better us as a unit to be more like moving towards marriage and all of those things, then why are we talking about money? Your money's your money, my money, my money.
Okay, so what if you're not quite sure that you're going to, because I'm gonna play devil's advocate. What
Mhm.
if you're not sure that you want to marry the person, but maybe y'all have talked about a cell phone plan. I don't know if you've seen the commercial, but this guy takes the girl to dinner and he gets down on one knee and he's like, "You want to go to T-Mobile?"
Right, right.
He mentions some cell phone company, and a cell phone is technically a contract that relates back to money. And so y'all are just good friends, you enjoy each other's company. You haven't made any final commitments or anything like that. So I can see moments where before
Hmm.
there's the thought of a future with this person, that you can somehow mix your money with somebody else's money.
Well, that can be like putting your toe in the water. You at the pool, you know what I mean? And you
Okay.
ain't gonna jump right in. That could be considered putting your toe in the water. It's a small step in the right direction, if you will. You
Okay.
know what I mean, so an opportunity to see how the other person will react to it, where their mental is at in reference to actually sharing something with somebody. Because everybody don't want to do that. Some people, even within their marriage, keep things separate.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody don't necessarily want to do that. So something like a cell phone bill, that's cool, or car insurance, or you know, I'm familiar with the little things, cell phone bills.
Okay.
Um, it's also an opportunity to get some insight on how the person regulates their money, so on and so forth. So
Oh, so are you saying that something like a cell phone bill, car insurance could be a way for you to determine a person's individual relationship with money? Like if you're the other party?
yeah, you get some insight into how early they pay their bills, or if they're a procrastinator and they pay them on the day of. You know what I'm saying? Some people are sticklers for certain types of things. Depending on what it is, I can procrastinate or I can be, well ahead. So when it comes to the mortgage, I don't procrastinate. You know what I'm saying? We need our home. We need somewhere to stay. It's no need playing around with that. But when it comes to the cell phone bill, I know it's there. I know the date is due. I'm gonna pay it. I'm gonna pay it. You know what I'm talking about? Because
You
ain't
sound
no,
like your phone be on the borderline to be turned off.
ain't no interest or no equity in my phone bill. You dig what I'm saying? But it's interesting, equity and withholdings in the house and the whole nine. So, yeah, I mean, it depends on what it is, but it is a way to see how somebody actually operates.
Okay.
As far as their individual financial situations. Now, if that's a make or break in a relationship, of which it can be, not necessarily for me. It depends on how it comes across, how you use it, and whether or not you're abusing it. You know.
Okay.
But I would say after that conversation, I decided, you know what I'm saying, I was gonna be yours, you was gonna be mine or whatever. And yeah, if y'all feel like my voice changed, that's because it did. Um, and we say we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do this, we're gonna try this out, we're gonna try and make it work, and we got plans on building the future, then we're gonna have a conversation about money.
Okay.
Because money's an uncomfortable conversation.
Money is definitely an uncomfortable conversation. So while you were talking, you know what it made me think about? So a very long time. Well, okay, wait. Now I'm dating myself. But years ago, I remember being in a relationship, or I can't even, a situationship with a guy.
I've always liked that word. We don't do hashtags here. We're gonna say that for a shot of Moo and a brew. So if it's a situationship will come up on that side. But I've always liked that word.
But in the midst of a prior situationship, me and the guy, we had kind of spent time together. We really feeling each other and everything, and we happened to go to a gym because we supposed to be working out together. And at the time, he didn't have established credit.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order for us to get the gym membership, you had to have some form of credit somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made the agreement to go into this gym membership together. And because they were signing people up right then and there on the spot, I want to say the gym was like a brand new gym or something to that effect. But we signed up together and it was like a 2-for-1. And I was like, oh, okay, well, the gym membership costs X amount of dollars. They're doing 10-for-1, 2-for-1 for 2 years before you had to renew.
Right.
And we both got, individual cards and everything. So he didn't need me to go to the gym. I didn't need him to go to the gym. And we agreed that we would split the bill, right?
Mm-hmm. Never heard this story, by the way, people. I've never heard this story. Okay? I like to be up on all the stories and situations, so I know. So if I'm just as intrigued as y'all are right now. Never heard this story, but go ahead, honey, carry on.
Okay, so we are, we've agreed that we're going to pay this bill, together. Like we're going to split it. And I mean, it wasn't that expensive because we're talking about we got a 2-for-1 special.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, I started to pick up additional hours at work at the time. And so maybe 6 months had gone by and he was at the gym every day, like every day playing basketball. He had signed up for one of the gym teams. He was doing weight training classes. Like he was enjoying the gym membership.
Okay, I know who the nigga is. Carry on.
But he was enjoying the gym membership. Me, on the other hand, I'm working doubles, doing extra hours at work. And so I did not have, first of all, at the time, I did not have my own car. So only time I went to the gym is when we were like, oh, well, let's go to the gym. Let's work out together. Or, like, I think they had a Pilates class that I liked a couple of times during one of his basketball, team, whatever's. And so a couple of times we would go, but there was a 6-month stretch where I didn't go to the gym. He did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get this letter in the mail. At the time, I was still living at my mom's house. And I get the letter in the mail and I'm like, why am I getting, what's up with the gym membership? Now, he was going to the gym in this 6-month period, every day, if not every other day.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that I had forgot our agreement. I just kind of, I guess, assumed that since he was the one going to the gym every day, if not every other day, that he was going to, like he's physically going there. You could physically pay the gym membership in person.
Okay.
And so for me to get this bill 6 months later and they tell us that we are 3 months behind in paying a gym membership.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, first of all, what is it, a water bill? Because we getting it every 3 months. Okay. So they're telling me that our gym membership is going to be cut off. And so he and I had plans to go street racing. And we meet up. So he comes and picks me up, but he's got an attitude. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, man, I tried to, go to the gym before, earlier today. We had a little pickup game or whatever. He was like, and I went to swipe my badge and they wouldn't let me in. And I said, oh, so you mad about the gym membership? And he was like, I mean, it was just embarrassing. And I was like, well, what'd you do? And I'm thinking he's going to tell me, oh, I went ahead and I paid. Because it said that if we paid one of the months that were past due, that they would, let us do a payment plan or something like that. Like you'll be able to access your gym membership that day. That's what the letter said. So he says, well, I mean, dog, one of my boys was there, that I done made friends with on the team. And I'm like, your boys, you ain't known these guys. Like, what you talking about? Nonetheless, he says that he used his friend's guest pass for the day. And so I'm sitting in this car and I'm like, we driving, on our way down the highway, to go meet up with some other folks or whatever. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, hold up. So he had gas to come get me.
Mm-hmm.
He talking about we going to go street race. So usually that meant that we were, betting on something, some aspect of somebody's car or something like that. Mm-hmm. Normally when we go street racing, we would, go buy something to eat or go to, a restaurant or something with a group of people, or we might go play pool. Like we would do those things, right? Mm-hmm. And so I thinking to myself, okay, so we talking, he had $40 or $50 clearly on his person, at least. But you went to the gym earlier today and you couldn't have just paid the membership. Now I'm not talking about a $50 or $69.99 membership or anything like that. Like I'm talking about less than a tank of gas. And we're talking about years ago when, gas wasn't $3 and some change a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sitting there and I'm starting to fume. And I realized in that moment that he was immature. So he didn't understand the correlation of we had to use my credit to be able to do this. So one of the things that ended up being on my credit when I filed bankruptcy, and that ended up being years later, was this daggone gym membership. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
Well, now let me step in and play devil's advocate.
Okay.
We can't say that he was
I was mad as hell. Let me be clear.
we can't say that he was immature, right?
Okay.
So what did we say early on before we started, or when we first started, that money is a complicated situation. It's a complicated conversation, right?
Right.
One thing that's very clear is he didn't come to you to have the conversation, and you didn't go to him. So you all were both assuming because he was the one using it that he was paying.
Right. That's true.
Right. So that's number one. That don't make him immature. That just makes him scared to have a conversation about some money. And as you say, it wasn't even a tank of gas. So it may not have been immature. It just may have been uncomfortable for him to have to come to you, because he might have been thinking you gonna say, man, it ain't nothing but a tank of gas, just pay the bill. Maybe he ain't want to hear that, and then that's why he didn't come to you. But so you're looking at it from a common sense perspective. You're thinking, if you go into the gym every day and you're hooping and you're balling and you're lifting weights and blah, 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 clearly you're using it. And you can see that I'm not here with you. Just pay the bill.
Right.
That's what you're thinking, right?
That's what I was thinking. Absolutely.
One of my favorite words, I go to this all the time. You know what I'm going to say. The people out there in the world, y'all might not know what I'm going to say, but you'll catch on. It was communication. It was he assumed something, you assumed something, but ain't nobody say nothing.
That's true.
And nobody said anything because it may have been uncomfortable for him to come to you about a tank of gas. We're going to paraphrase it like that. And you being the sounds like the more mature of the two. Use your common sense and just figure if you're the one at the gym and you're playing ball and you're lifting weights and you're on the team and all of this, for you to be there, just pay the bill. But let's think about this. You said you didn't go for 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you got that letter, y'all was 3 months behind. So it sounded like he paid his half for 6 months, which would still put you 3 months behind because 6 halves is 3 wholes.
Okay.
So he was maybe thinking you were paying yours, even though you weren't going, but didn't have a conversation with you. And because it was in your name, he didn't get nothing in the mail. You did.
Okay.
But like I said, communication and then money being a touchy conversation for a lot of people. Everybody don't like to talk about money. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I spend a lump sum of money, it just makes me go, because I hate spending lump sums of money. Now I spend $20 all day long. I bust a 20, I bust a 10, I spend $3 on a cup of coffee. You get me up into them hundreds, I'm like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It makes me feel some kind of way. So we're not going to call them immature. We're just going to say there was a lack of communication in reference to the money that was the defining factor in this situation or situationship per se.
Well, I guess that's fair because communication, probably if there was, better communication, then things, might have not been what they were. So you're right. I can agree to that. And I did assume like we never had the conversation. I never, to be honest with you, all these years, I never even considered that he looked at it as he paid his 3 months up front, and they were sending me a bill for the last 3 months.
So he probably assumed you was paying your portion of the bill. Just because you wasn't showing up at the gym don't mean you don't pay. But I understand how you felt because you thinking it's on my credit. But he may have been thinking, well, it's on her credit. I know she ain't gonna mess that up. Y'all thinking the same thing, but ain't nobody talking about nothing. Ain't nobody said nothing about nothing. Tank of gas.
Tank of gas.
You know what I'm saying? So he come out mad because he can't get in. You mad because you like, really? You ain't got no common sense? Like, we just spent $50 on dinner. But, and even in the midst of all of that, the one thing y'all didn't do was have a conversation about it. You still never had the conversation.
We still never had the conversation about it. So that is absolutely right. We never had a conversation about it. You're right.
So, I mean, but that's one of the things that I bring up all the time is the communication, and I've been known to miss a conversation or two. I won't miss no more though, for sure. Anywho, so that's probably how that went. Money in a relationship, that's tricky, honey. That's real tricky. It really is. It's a lot of trust involved. It's a lot of conversations involved. It's a lot of vulnerability involved because, like you said, it was on your credit. That can, even though it's a small thing, it can affect it in a major way. Like that could be the one thing that keeps your score right where, in an area of which it can prevent you from getting something. So, yeah. So I think, I guess when you're getting serious, you figure you're going to spend some time with her, you're investing in your future, that's when money comes into play, for me. And anybody that knows me knows that when it comes to the money, not even from a gaining aspect, but from a saving and spending and trying to be proactive and do this and that, I take it seriously. Because money is the one thing that, even though it's not everything, it's the one thing that we all need, on a daily basis to kind of help with the lifestyles that we live.
Yeah. So if I had to, I guess, leave our viewers, leave you guys with something, I would say that when talking about money, actually, like if you are considering being long term with someone, you're talking about maybe moving in together or something like that. Before you move in together, be willing to have a conversation. And I would say, one, take the conversation out of your comfort zone. So don't be at each other's house when you have the conversation.
Right.
Like, go somewhere new.
Right. You go somewhere new.
I would also say another tip would be to um, actually identify that it might be like we might be getting ready to have a really uncomfortable conversation, but it seems like things are going serious,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
moving in a serious direction, and we probably should talk about money now, before it creates, some uncertainties, or have an unclear moment later.
You don't want to get somewhere, be in a situation, and then be like, "Well, I thought you would even think like you should know we need this much." No, you got to have that conversation prior to. I've been in that position. It sucks.
And I know some women, like I am a strong Black female. I come from a lineage of strong Black females.
Support our Black women.
um, and because of that, sometimes we have such high expectations of our male counterparts, and our male counterparts might not have had the same experiences in life. And so they're thinking, oh, you got it. Or you're thinking, oh, he got it. And instead of us just having that conversation beforehand to be clear on what each other actually are coming to the table with.
Mm-hmm.
If I say nothing else, I would say, just have the conversation and don't go in it with a judgment or anything like that. Like, go into the conversation like you're getting ready to talk about, some intimate love making, or, something that is actually a delicate topic, because money is a delicate topic. It's a difficult topic. And some people don't have the same relationship or understanding of it that you might have. So you need to go into it with actual listening and hearing ears versus, waiting until there is some confusion that you got to try to fix or figure out.
Respects. I mean, and I'll leave you with this. Money serious. Money something that we all need, we all want, we all aspire to obtain. And if you're planning on building the future and being with somebody and cohabitating and all of those things, have the conversation, man. Talk about the money. And you gotta be vulnerable with it too. Even if you've been fronting like you got 75 saved up, but you really only got 75. You got to be honest about that 75 that you got. Don't let it become a hindrance or a problem down the line, and don't allow that to be one of the things that, wrecks that future. Because money can wreck a future. For sure. You know what I'm saying? It can make a relationship and it can break a relationship. There ain't no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
That's all.
All right, folks. This was another moment of candid conversation with Peanut
and Prin. Give me your socials. Tell them where they can reach you on.
You can reach me on Instagram at she.writes.books, or you can follow me on TikTok, which is She Writes Books Media. How about your socials, hun?
At A Shot of Moo and a Brew on Instagram. That's the other podcast with me and my homeboys. Y'all check that out. We got a YouTube page too, A Shot of Moo and a Brew. And you can catch me on Facebook. I never really put my Facebook out there, but it's JM Head on Facebook, man. Check me out. I'm everywhere you need to be.
All right. Until next time, keep your conversations candid. Bye-bye.
Peace.